Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to talk about what adjectives are, how to use them in English, and we'll learn some new vocabulary. How would you describe this photo? I see some small boats. Actually, this is from the San Diego harbor. I took a walk about a month ago and I took this photo. I saw some small boats. A huge cruise ship, a very big cruise ship, tall skyscrapers, these tall buildings in the background, and calm waters. There weren't any waves. And it was a beautiful and sunny morning. What do you notice about these words that I used? They have adjectives: tall, huge, beautiful, sunny, small, and calm. I'm using these words to describe, and that's how we use adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe nouns or pronouns. San Diego is beautiful. Beautiful is the adjective, and it's describing this noun, San Diego. And remember, nouns are people, places, things, animals, ideas, and we use these adjectives to describe them. It's important to know the word order because it can be different in other languages. So adjectives in English can go in two places. It can go after the be verb or linking verb and before a noun. For example, the boats are small. I have my be verb. Be is am, is, are, was, were. And then after that I have the adjective, and small is describing the boats. But you could use other linking words like the boats look small, or seem small, or appear small. Also, you can use adjectives before the noun. For example, he has a small boat. First, I have the adjective and then the noun. In other languages, it's switched. You would say boat small, but in English we say small boat. There are different types of adjectives. We can use them to describe colors like blue, red, green, or colorful, which means lots of colors. For size and shape, like big, small, round. For feelings, angry, sad, happy. Personality, shy, easygoing. You might want to describe what a person is like. A nationality, like Chinese, American, Mexican. You might be describing a culture, or giving your opinion, like beautiful, ugly, interesting, strong. We also use adjectives to describe the weather, like hot, cold, windy, cloudy. How would you describe this picture? Let's practice. You can pause the video here if you want. The flowers are colorful. Different colors. They are beautiful. Notice the adjective is going after the be verb. These are fresh flowers. They're straight from my mom's garden. She gave them to me for my birthday. Notice I put the adjective before the noun. My mom brought me fragrant flowers. Fragrant means they smell so good, like a perfume. Number. In English, we do not add s to an adjective when the noun is plural. For example, a beautiful flower. This is singular. Many beautiful flowers. So, if I have a plural noun, like here I have lots of flowers, if you have a plural noun, the adjective doesn't become plural too. It doesn't need to agree. You would just say, many beautiful flowers. I don't need to make beautiful plural. So adjectives are not pluralized in English. Sometimes we also use nouns to describe other nouns. For example, a plant, like these right here, is a noun. A store is a noun. I could say a plant store. This is a store that sells plants. So I have a noun describing another noun. Some adjectives have two words, like fun-loving. This is a person who's a lot of fun and loves others. Good-looking is someone who's handsome or pretty. Well-known is someone who's famous. 2 week is something that's 2 weeks long. For example, he went on a 2 week vacation to Europe. So this is acting like an adjective. It's describing how long the vacation was, and it's coming before the noun. And notice it has this little dash. We call that a hyphen. It's important to also know the order of adjectives. Sometimes we use more than one adjective, and they need to follow a specific order. So I have this t-shirt here, and I want to use these words to describe the t-shirt. What would be the order? First, you want the determiner, and the, some, many. That comes first. Then the opinion adjective like good, bad. Third, the size, huge, big, large. Fourth, the shape, flat, round, square. The age, like young, old. The color. Seventh, the origin. Eighth, the material. What is it made of? And then ninth, the purpose, why you use it. So if I had to put these in order, I would say a new black cotton t-shirt. The determiner goes first, then new, that's the age. After that, the color, black, and then the material, cotton. And then finally you have your noun. So you would say a new black cotton t-shirt. Let's practice some more. I have this cake. My niece made this cake for Easter. So it's pink. It was for a birthday. I want to use and it's beautiful. So what is the order? I would say a beautiful. So that's my opinion, beautiful. Then the color, pink. The purpose is it's for a birthday. And then finally, cake. Let's practice again. So here's a cat. It's old, it's French, and orange. What would be the order? An old orange French cat. We have the age, old, the color, orange, the origin, French, and then finally the noun. Let's practice some more by looking at some mistakes students sometimes make. I will buy some paper white plates. What's wrong with the order here? You would need to say white paper plates. First, I put the color and then the material. These are Dirty's shoes. What's wrong with the number? You would say dirty shoes. Remember, adjectives don't take number. This week, you will write a poem about where you are from. Here are some adjectives that might be useful to use in your writing this week. And also, you'll learn new vocabulary. You will also find these adjectives on our Quizlet page. These are flashcards, and you can find them on Canvas. These are adjectives to describe nationality, like Guatemalan, Mayan, Mexican, Iranian, Egyptian, Chinese, Vietnamese, Iraqi, America. So if I say a Guatemalan city or Guatemalan food, this is from Guatemala. So these are the adjectives to describe nationality. There are adjectives to describe weather, sunny, hot, warm, humid. That means when it's wet. It's like wet outside. There's wetness in the air. Cloudy, overcast. Overcast is similar to cloudy. It means that the clouds are covering the sun. Snowy, rainy, and foggy. Here's a picture of fog. Fog means the clouds are low and you can't see very well. It's also dangerous to drive in fog when it's foggy. There are adjectives to describe traditions or activities, like traditional. This is a traditional activity or traditional music from Malaysia. Ancient, which means very old. Fun, which is enjoyable. Or funny, that means it makes you laugh. It's comical. Exciting, interesting, enjoyable. There are adjectives to describe foods. Healthy, delicious, homemade. It wasn't store-bought, you made it at home. Tasty, which means delicious. Spicy, like when you put hot peppers. Salty, when it has a lot of salt, like chips. Sweet, like dessert. And sour, so we say lemons are sour. There are also adjectives you can use to describe cities and towns that you come from or that you visited. Beautiful, busy, bustling means busy. Crowded, lots of people. Modern, which means new, or traditional, which means kind of old-fashioned. Urban, which means of the city, or rural, like the countryside, or where areas where people farm. Slow-paced or fast-paced. Maybe the town, everything goes slow, or is everybody moving very fast? Mountainous, a place where there are lots of mountains. Seaside or coastal, somewhere that's close to the ocean or the sea. There are adjectives to describe personality and character, like your family or friends. Loving, caring, hardworking. Shy, someone who doesn't make friends easily or gets embarrassed. Outgoing, which means somebody's friendly. Honest, someone who doesn't tell lies is honest. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope now you have a better idea of what adjectives are, how to use the correct word order, and you learned maybe a few new adjectives that you can use later this week in your writing assignment when you write